Yo, Sanjay Uche here, people giving you my review on Dragon Ball Super Episode 84. So, general thoughts, really and truly, this wasn't a bad episode. Um, I liked it. I liked it. It had its flaws, but I liked it. So, continuing off last week's episode with Vegeta's daughter being Bulla being born, we see Goku and Gohan continue their hunt to recruit members for the Tournament of Power, which starts in the next 39 hours. So, following the proceedings of the episode, we see Goku and Gohan decide. Well, Goku decides to recruit Krillin, and Gohan follows suit to essentially figure out why Goku has selected Krillin. And I must say, like the reason behind the actions of the characters in this episode are pretty good. They're pretty well written. But as I said, the episode does have its flaws. But let's take it one step at a time. So we get into it. Goku shows up at Krillin's house, tells them about the Tournament of Power, and of course he also tries to convince Android 18. And if you have seen the spoilers that's been around the net, like for the entire week now, I suppose, Goku proceeds to try and convince Android 18 to join via, lying to her that, each member of the team will be getting 10 million zenny. And apparently we find out that Krillin has been training as well, which is pretty good. It's good to see that he wants to improve himself as a fighter ever since his return to training via those episodes we got with Master Roshi. So that's good to see. So essentially what we get after this is a sparring match between Gohan and Krillin. And I must say, the reason behind the fights we get in this episode, I love it. It really adds to the episode. The thing is, I can see a lot of people saying, alright, for this part, Krillin doesn't stand a chance against Gohan, right? Fair enough. That's no lie. That's like fact. But the thing is, what this episode tried to do, it tried to reinforce the point that even though it's called the Tournament of Power, you can't just go in there and just outpower everybody and expect to win. That's not what it's about. It's about strategy and teamwork. The fact that you're working with a team should should be enough of a shout out to that, as it is really and truly. So what Krillin did in this fight, we see him use a new technique, the Solar Flare times 100, which was pretty ingenious, pretty crafty. I must say it's impressive to see as a surprise technique, so that will definitely be useful in the actual battle royale. So what Krillin tried to reinforce to Gohan in this sparring match is that, even though it's called a Tournament of Power, as I was saying, is that sorry about that. It's still a tournament with rules. There's no killing, no flight, no weapons, and it's a battle royale with team members. So what Krillin did was essentially give Gohan, as the more experienced fighter, he basically showed Gohan that he can't just go in there and outpower and just. It's not really it's a concept of power, but not really, if you get what I'm saying. So for what it's worth, Krillin really showed Gohan what this tournament will really entail, and by extension, Goku in the next section I'm about to cover. So we see him use Solar Flare times 100. We see him do a bit of exchanges with Gohan, and it's not bad. I must say the art in this episode, you can notice there's been a decrease in quality in the art in this episode, I must say, compared to the all the episodes before for the Universe Survival arc. It's not a ridiculously bad decrease in quality, but it's noticeable in a number of shots, I must say. So, but it's not episode ruining to the point that you say, oh shit, this is episode 5 again. But yeah, it did have some weird shots. Well, not weird, but a noticeable decrease in quality in the art. But all in all, but for the sections outside of these bad parts, the art was still pretty decent, to say the least. So there's that. So after Krillin, essentially, what they did with the sparring match, and this is what I loved about the episode as well, is that they tried to recreate the fact that the tournament will have ringouts. So this is how Krillin essentially beat Gohan, not in the sense of a contest of power, but the fact that he uses strategy, craftiness, and essentially got Gohan out of the ring or their emulated ring or simulated ring, whatever. So Gohan acknowledged that he's inexperienced, and people might say, Gohan's been through a lot, but I think people tend to forget that Krillin is way older than Gohan. So as a more experienced fighter, and he's actually been in tournaments where ring outs count. I mean, we did have that tournament in Buu Saga, but Gohan didn't participate much, so there's that. For what it's worth, the episode up to this point is pretty solid, with the flaws I mentioned already with the artwork. Now we get to see Goku versus Krillin, and I must say it's very nostalgic to see them doing a shout out, a throwback to when Krillin and Goku fought in the tournament. Was it 20? Would have been the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai, I think. Yeah. So that was cool, and to see that redone artwork of that time when they were about to start the match, that was pretty good. It was pretty nostalgic. It kind of gives Krillin more worth as Goku's quote-unquote best friend, I suppose, as a character, because there are some characters that you start off in a series and they're close to the main character, and then eventually they become like tossed to the wayside and become forgettable, like I guess Iruka Sensei in Naruto, even though he did play his part in the end, I suppose. But then I digress. So we get Goku versus Krillin, and I must say the choreography in this section is pretty awesome. The initial parts with base Goku versus Krillin is pretty cool. And of course, even though like he's in this match, he tries to use the solar flare times 100 again, and Android 18 points out that he can't use it over and over again because it's a surprise attack. But Krillin, as a fighter, he's already aware of this, and it's just interesting to see how crafty he is, and that will definitely be an asset in the Tournament of Power, I must say. I think where the episode... Oh, and it was cool to see when he's firing off the Destructor Disc, he uses a fourth one as a means to ring out Goku. Well, almost ring out Goku. Goku manages to get out in time. And it's cool to see him not only using the Solar Flare times 100, the Destructor Disc, using the Destructor Disc as distractions, aiming more for ring outs, hiding his power level. This is what I like to see, even though this, because I think people in this fandom it's gone to the point where, if you're stronger than, if A is stronger than B, it's over. It's over. There's no hope for for B to win the battle. But this brings back the notion that you don't, even if you're stronger, it doesn't mean you're going to win the fights, especially in a tournament of with these sort of rules. So I like that about the episode. Of course, Goku goes Super Saiyan Blue, and of course, I can see people shouting out, and even myself shouted out that this wasn't really necessary. But I think it's more of a nod back, because I think Goku does, well, nothing. Goku definitely does remember the tournament where he and Krillin fought. So I think this was more of an acknowledgement of saying, Krillin said back then, yeah, Goku should go all out, and I think that's more of a acknowledgement of that time, and I like that. It was a great shout out. Of course, I think obviously Goku, even though he's in Super Saiyan Blue, I still think he is holding his power back. But the beam struggle that we got, it was cool, but like it shouldn't even have been a beam struggle. I mean, Krillin was losing the beam struggle, but the difference in power, and they even mentioned in the episode that the difference in power, what would Krillin do? Even though I had a problem with him transforming into blue, I could see it as a way of Goku, because the fact of the matter is Krillin will be up against overwhelming odds in the tournament of power. There will be major differences in power. So when Krillin comes up against that, what will he do? And I think that's what Goku was trying to accomplish in terms of testing Krillin in this sparring match. Of course, during the beam struggle, Android 18 comes in and she stops it, and they're about to team up, because it's like this sparring match really and truly, it serves as a way to reinforce the fact that the characters are in a way teaching Goku and Gohan. They're reminding them what the tournament's really about, instead of them going in with their usual tactics. So, for it's where it's good. So Goku calls off the match, He's satisfied. He's great. He's glad that Krillin's managed to teach him a few things and remind him about the tournament. So there's that. So we end up the episode with Goku essentially asking Android 17. Android 18 tells him that he's become a park ranger essentially. He likes wildlife. Hasn't talked to him since. And Krillin mentions that Goku should head out to the Dende to actually find out where he is. So that's their episode. As I said, it's a pretty decent episode. Apart from the arts in a few sections and in a sense a few power scaling issues. But if you dissect it, it doesn't necessarily have to be a power scaling issue because obviously Goku would be holding back. And as we know, Krillin did train with Goku during those Master Roshi episodes, and he's been training ever since, obviously. So all in all, I think it works out to be an okay plus episode. Next week we'll be getting the rematch of the century, Goku versus Majin Buu. We haven't seen those two go at it since Super Saiyan 3 Goku versus Buu over West City. So it's gonna be fun, and I must say I love the new ending. The new ending, it has a vibe. Um, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, like this video, share it out, tell me what you think about this review. Look out for my Samurai Jack review, if not later tonight, tomorrow morning. So Sanjay Uchiha, and I'll see you in the next one.